also about object-oriented programming, or OOP for short, in Java. So we're going to make the car class. You can see I have my template set up, some nice comments. We're going to hit up instance variables, the default constructor, a one-arg constructor, and we'll work on a getter and setter. And then maybe we'll go more in depth, or we'll put that in another video. So this is the first video on object-oriented programming in Java. Let's get that bread. All right, so we're going to make the car class. You'll notice the name of my file is car.java, and it is called car. That's the name of my class, public class car. So make sure those match up. All right, so now we're going to think about, well, what does every single car have? Each object of the car class, each instance, should have one specific field, and I'm thinking price. Cars all have value, even if it's just scrap metal. It costs, it's worth more than $0. Okay, so now whenever you make your instance variables, they should be private. Okay, so make sure you have that keyword. So every single car has their own unique price instance variable. We also might call that a field. Okay, so like your car might be worth $23,000 and my car might be worth $17,000, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's first. So we're gonna make our car, and then we know that cars have a price field associated with them. Let's make a getter and a setter. Okay, so these accessor and mutator methods are very, very, very important. All right, so if we're going to make a getter, aka an accessor method, we want to get access to the price. The price is of type double, so our return type is going to be double for this method. Okay, if the field was a string, the return type would be a string. If the field was an int, the return type would be an int. So public double, and then we're going to call it get price. We're going to write it in camel case, and since this is a method, please make sure that you have open and close parentheses. We'll throw some braces on here, and now we're going to fill in this method. Well, remember, the return type is double, and what we're going to do is this is going to be the way that you get access, that you get the value of the price instance variable for a specific object in this class. So all we have to do is return price. Price is, of course, of type double, and we have that matching up. Okay, so we have public double get price. Now, if you want, this is actually like a really short method. Like you could just turn this into like a one-liner if you wanted to. For now, I'm gonna not have it be just one line, just so that it like looks more clear. But once you start doing more advanced like Java methods, you want to make sure that you have things be like longer than as short as possible, rather than being so many lines of code. But I think this looked nice and clear for this example. All right, so we're getting the price. We're returning the instance variable called price. Okay, now if we wanted to make a setter method, if we wanted to set the value of the price for a specific car, setters, aka mutator methods, because you're changing or setting that instance variable, they are void. So of course this is a public method, so don't forget that. So public void. Now this is going to be called set price. Notice it's in camel case. Now if you're going to be setting or changing the price, you're going to want to give it a new price. So I'll call it P. Okay, I'm going to give it a new price called P. I'll give myself some braces, even though this is just another one-liner type method. We now want to set the price. We want to set the member variable. We want to set the field, wrong language. We want to set the field, or the instance variable, set the instance variable of price to P. We want to store in price whatever new price we are giving that object. So we have the getter, where the return type is the type of the instance variable. We have the setter, which is void, but we're going to have a parameter where we're going to store in a new value for that instance variable of price. So this is enough to get us up and running, because now I can hit up a couple of key ideas here. So I just have a couple of print lines just to push everything down in my output. That's fine. Let's zoom in here. So now what we can do in our car tester class is we can make a car. Car, my car. So my car is of type car, and now we're going to construct a new car. We'll do open close parentheses. Keep in mind this is not a method. This is known as the default constructor. We're not putting anything in there, so we're just going to use the default values of the class. Now, that's how we're going to construct our object. And then what we do is typically once you make an object, you're going to use it. How do you use an object? Well, you're going to use its methods. And how do you use its methods? By using the dot operator. So you could do something like my car dot get price. Now keep in mind, get price returns a double. So if you have no variable on the left-hand side here, or you're not printing this out, you're not going to really see anything. You don't have anything to catch or show the output of this accessor, aka getter method. So what we could do is we could print it out. We could say my car's price is, and we'll get that. So we'll just print this out. All right, and so that's our getter, and then maybe we should try for a setter as well. So is now, let's set our price. So notice again the syntax. We have the object, my car of type car. When we dot it, we get to use the set price method. I'm going to make my car be worth $50,000. Okay, terrific. Okay, and now actually, this is kind of weird. I probably shouldn't be filming so late at night, but we can just go for it here. Let's set the car's price to 50,000. Now, since it was void, it was very awkward that I had that inside my print function. It should just be happening. It's void. It doesn't need to be an output. There doesn't need to be a variable on the left-hand side to store the output, because this is void. There is no output. So if I do my car at set price, now we can check and see if our setter worked to get the price and see if it was changed. Okay. So now we're going to run our tester. Notice how we have car tester.java and we have car.java. If we run in our tester class, your tester class should always have a main method. If we run this, let's just see what happens. It says my car's price is 0.0. My car's price is now 50,000.0, and we're all done here. So notice these are prints. I probably would rather than be print lines, so it looks a little bit nicer. Let's just run that again real quick. And so you'll notice, since we use the default constructor and we didn't define it in the car class, we didn't define the default constructor, automatically Java for free said, well, since your price is of type double, we'll just set that instance variable to the 0 of its type, which is the artist formerly known as 0.0. Okay? Now, then so we get the price, it's just $0, because when we constructed it, we got that for free. We can set the price to 50K, and then if we get it again, we can see that we in fact changed the price to $50,000. Now we can start to shape this and make this a little bit better. I kind of wish that I printed things a little bit better. Let me show you something. if I try to do system.out.println and I try and print out my car, something fishy is going to happen. So let's run this. This is going to develop the need for what we're going to see just next. Oh my goodness. If you look at that, I tried to print out my object and I got car with an @ sign and a bunch of interesting random numbers and even letters. This must be like some base 16 mess over here. Now, that's not very cool. I don't know what that means. My car is not 277,100. That has nothing to do with my car. That actually is like, that's like the location in memory that this car lives in. That's not helpful to you or me. So right now, the compiler has no idea how to print a car. So it just has this default way to print things, probably inherited from the object class, where they just say the name of the class, put an @ sign, and then talk about the most recent location in memory, or the location in memory where that object is stored. So that's not helpful, though. I mean, it's better than nothing. But what we can do is we could write our own toString method. Okay? So we're going to sort of re-engineer this, because I don't want to see that weird gobbledygook. I don't want to see that weird @ sign. So instead we can override the toString method. Now, the toString method, notice how every method, most methods you write, and every one that I'm going to show you here, the methods are public. So it's public. Now the toString method, it returns a string, and it's called toString. So keep in mind, the second thing we say, we first say it's public. The second thing we say is that the return type is a string. So we're gonna return a string. So we're gonna return, how about this string? Car's price is, and then we have a $sign and then a space, and then we'll concatenate that with the price currently of the car. So there'll be a space. Maybe I don't actually want the space. But so now I'm going to return this string, and it should say the price of the vehicle. Okay, so now if I try to print out a car, first I'm going to do this a little bit weird, and I try and call the toString method on it. It's going to look a little bit better. Run this. Oh, nice. Now it says car's price is, there's a $sign, $50,000.0. Now you don't even have to do toString. You can now just print the object. But now, since you've written that recipe, you'll actually print out what we wanted to on the car, which in this case is the car's price is $50,000. So car's price, and maybe we'll just shorten this a little bit. Car value, boom. Okay, so that's kind of neat. Okay, so the toString method is really, really nice. Now, so here we've established that our getter works. So now, we can just kind of add layers to this. So now we have the accessor, the getter, the setter, aka the mutator, and now we have the toString method. It's always nice to write the toString method pretty early on in your coding so that you can test stuff, output things nicely. It's really, really helpful. So if you might not necessarily want the zeros of each instance variable's type in your default constructor. So we can write our own. We can write our own constructor here. Here is our default constructor, and so by default, So if I don't specify anything, when I construct it, I'm going to say the price is $500 because I think pretty much any car, no matter how junky it is, scrap metal style, could get you, let's say, 500 bucks. Okay, so now when I run this, that car on line 4 that I'm creating, its initial price is $500. Okay, now I could certainly just use my 2-string here. So this is a great way to repeatedly output and test things. Notice how often I'm testing. You really want to test often just to make sure that everything's working here, that everything's up to speed. Stop commenting things out here, all right? I don't know what I'm doing here. All right, so we can print this out, and we can test it, and we can change it, and we can test it, and we can change it, and so on and so forth. I got some weird indentation here. It's like they're trying to ruin my video here. Whatever, we're just going to roll with it for now. I don't know why it's misbehaving like this. All right, so now you can see that when there's the nice dollar sign, you can see that that's really, really helpful. I actually have a video on what I'm going to show you now. Yeah, like the 2-string is really nice, but I would love to have 2 decimal places on price here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a decimal format object. And I actually have a video on this. I'll include the link in my work here. All right. So decimal format. I'm going to make a new decimal format object, and it's going to be of this form. Since it's money, I'm going to go to 2 decimal places. Also, this is a quick advertisement. I mean, it's not really an advertisement, but IntelliJ, I was like, I want to make a decimal format object. IntelliJ is like, wait a minute, did you want to import java.text.decimal format? Why, yes, I did. So if you want, we can just write that in real quick. Import java.text.decimal format. Now there's also like a shortcut that you can do and just it'll just automatically populate it up top. So you always have to make sure that you have the right import statements. Otherwise, you can't just use anything you want because the files and things would be too big. But so now I'm making a decimal formatter object. I want it to be in this pattern. So that's kind of interesting. I'm going to have it be in like sort of this money pattern here. Now, I would love to format. I would love to format the price now. So now I'm going to take the instance variable, which is a price. That's going to now be input into the format method that takes in a double and uses this decimal format object. And what's nice, what's nice is it will now output it, and it will always have 2 decimal points. So that's why there's the 2 hashtags, if you will, to the right of the decimal point. So now if we run this is going to look even better. And that's really what coding is. It's like shaping something and making it better. All right, so now it looks pretty nice. It doesn't look as nice as I would have liked it, though. It seems like it's only giving me whole numbers, and I really thought I was going to get to see those parts after the decimal. So just for fun, let's just change this a little bit and see what happens. So now it's $5,079. What's nice is now it gets the 79. So the decimal format object, because 500 truly has nothing after the decimal point, we're not actually getting to see any more than that. Now, what if I threw 2 decimals on here? Let's see how that's going to behave. So now the default for my scrap metal is $500.00. You'll see the decimal formatter. It's not bothering to put the 0.00 afterwards, but for the $50,079.79, it will in fact show that decimal place right here. So we can keep modifying and shaping this. And we can have something like really, really cool in the end. So again, so far, just to recap, we've made the default constructor, we've done the accessor, aka the getter, we've done the setter, aka the mutator, and we've written the toString. Okay? So now we can shape this even a little bit more. We should really make a constructor where we give it a specific price when we make the car. So now it's public car, and now we're going to have one argument here, one parameter. One argument when we're in main, one parameter when we're speaking in general in the car class. So now what we do is if we construct a car and we give it some double P, that variable will be stored in our instance variable. So now we have a one argument constructor. So notice as we make something, we're going to test it. So now we're going to have your car equals new car. And now your car is 27,796.23. Almost 28K. That's how much your car is. Now, see how it says, it's really cool, IntelliJ has like a little P there to show that that is the argument P that's going to get plugged in and stored in the instance variable price for the object your car. Currently it's grayed out because we haven't used it, but now we can just print and make sure that we did in fact get our new constructor with one arg. There's one argument here. There's one specific value plugged in for the instance variable. We can make sure that that works. Let's test that. And you just keep building and testing. That is what coding is all about. And notice how we have the nice decimal formatter to two decimal places. That's a beautiful thing. All right. So we have some solid control here. So let's do one more thing to kind of wrap up this introductory class here. So let's comment on the price of the car. So let's have this method be void, and it's going to be called comment on price. Notice how I'm doing camel case here. I'm not going to plug anything into this method. I'm just going to print out, I just want to print out some sort of a message. So like if the price of the car is greater than $50,000, let's print out this car was pretty expensive. Okay. And maybe we'll go 500,000. This car was super expensive. And then I'm just going to add to this. If maybe the price is, I don't know, if it's greater than $100,000, that'd be pretty legit. This car is a luxury vehicle. I'd say that's accurate. All right, now we can just keep on keeping on here. Let's do else if price is greater than $20,000. your car has decent value. And last but not least, like the catch-all, otherwise we'll just say your car isn't very expensive. All right, so now we've got a bunch of different options here. This method is called comment on price. So now we could take, so again, notice how we make the method and now we test it. And just keep doing that over and over again. Notice how there hasn't been any errors, or if there has been errors, we squash them right away. So now we could do like my car dot comment on price. Your car dot comment on price. Now when you're doing that in IntelliJ, just hit tab, boom, it gives you the whole thing. It's a beautiful thing. So now we can test this even more. Oh, I guess they both have decent value, but let me throw some, let's make my car be one of one, very, very special. So now my car is super expensive, well over the threshold. Ooh, there you go. This car was super expensive. Your car has decent value. Your car at 27K, since it was over 20K, it has decent value. My car is super expensive. Nice. All right, so you can play. You can play with these things and you can just keep adding and shaping. In the next video, I'm going to add more instance variables, and that's going to affect things like my constructor, and I'll have to change my toString, and then I'm just going to keep drilling down and making this more and more complicated. But so I hope that this was a good introductory example with the car class and the car tester class. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and or subscribe. Let me know if you need help with something in the comments. I'll try to whip you up a video. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.